Hello, I'm back. This is part two of the five-part series of five ways that ADHD shows up in my life and what I do about it. I figured I would do these in little short chunks just for fellow people who like short chunks of things versus one long thing. So that's what I decided to do. So I'm going to knock these out and then I don't know if I'll post them, when I'll post them, but you'll see them eventually. Doesn't matter. Okay, I'm back. The next part of how ADHD shows up in my life is feeling overwhelmed. And overwhelmed, there's definitely a continuum of what that looks like. I mean, it can be level 10, like I'm in my bed, I don't want to get up, I just don't even know how to start my day, overwhelmed. But more often, thankfully, it's in these lower levels where it's sneaky and it puts on different hats. For example, when I thought a couple weeks ago about doing posts more geared towards people that have wiring like me, I got overwhelmed and I don't know, it just stopped me in my tracks. And I just decided to do 1,000 other things that were easier and I knew how to do. So organize the crap out of my closet, man. It was great. However, part of it was because I was feeling overwhelmed about this project and didn't really know where to start. So that brings me to one of the tools I use for it. So if I find myself just, being on Facebook mindlessly and just feeling like stuck, like often I will drive my boys to school, I'll come back and I'll just sit in my car and I get on my phone and I'm just on my phone scrolling through mindless stuff that I don't even care about, that really doesn't matter. And I just get stuck in this zone and it feels like I'm stuck, like I'm just not moving and I'm just there. And I think a lot of it is just feeling overwhelmed around, building this business and doing all these things that are out of my comfort zone. And it's not the exciting, fun things like the vlogs, it's the day-to-day reaching out, other stuff that isn't as much in my wheelhouse that just ends up having me kind of go into this like weird zombie state. And so a few things about that. One is that I have educated myself and learned a whole lot of how ADHD presents in adults and also in women, and knowing that this is a thing and this is how it presents itself, where you just kind of zone out and get sucked into things because maybe you don't know what the steps are for what your actual goals are, is really helpful because it allows me to step back in the moment eventually, right, and be like, wait, I'm doing it. Okay, how can I right this ship? And it's, I'm definitely not perfect at it. It definitely happens more often than I would like. However, learning more about the nitty-gritties around all this stuff and just empowering myself to have the knowledge of what is under this category of attention stuff and what is me just following a whim and, my personality has been super helpful and impactful. And I don't take it as personally and don't feel as much of it as like a failure. I feel like I'm like, oh yeah, I really do have this. This really is a thing in my life. Okay, that confirms it. Look at me doing this behavior. Educating myself was one part. And then, like I talked about in a previous vlog, of breaking things down into the babyest step. So, for example, doing this 5-part series, the other day I just told myself, I was like, just write a brainstorm. Just write a brainstorm. Don't say it's the 5 most impactful ways ADHD shows up in my life. Don't make it this big thing where I need to feel like I need to research stuff. Like, just write down 5 ways it shows up. Just write it down and then write some really quick bullet points underneath of where that is. And so that's where I started, and then I've been mulling it over for the last few days. And then this morning I wrote an even smaller, more detailed like bullet point list to speak from, like I'm doing right now. And that means that I had a plan and I had baby steps, and now here I am doing it. So yes. Okay. So babyest step, getting educated. And then also really developing a support network around these things. So it's probably not groundbreaking to hear that you should get support around this, but it is, for me, crucial. It's crucial that I have cultivated some really important friendships in my world, and professionals for sure. But the friends help me with these overwhelmed stuff kind of on a day-to-day basis, where I can call somebody and just say, when I'm in a low moment and feeling stuck, and they can help reroute me and get my kind of like energy back on track and like higher, and help me figure out what a babyest step might be. Or even more importantly, to celebrate the victories of like, hey, I was going down this route. I was about to jump back into Netflix or whatever, and I didn't. And instead I did this, and celebrating those victories. And for me, that is one of the most important things. Someone that I can kind of verbally process stuff and celebrate the lows, celebrate the highs, and get comfort for the lows and move on. For sure. So yeah, and then the last part of the overwhelm is I've started a meditation practice, which before I started it, I was like, that sounds really boring and impossible. And then, and sometimes it does feel that way. But I got invited to this class and I learned more about it, and it's 10 minutes a day. I do my best to do it every day. Sometimes I don't. I still do it. I get back on the track. And it's helping me create space in my mind and get more distance from thoughts and feelings, so I can be more an observer of them and realize that they don't actually define me. They're just part of how my brain and body and spirit works. So yeah, those are my thoughts for overwhelm, my friends. And if everyone needs a day once in a while just to zone out and not do anything and not be productive. Like, that's healthy. It's when it's stopping you from reaching your goals and you feel really bad about it. That's when maybe there's something else to look into there. So educate yourself, create a support group. Let me be a support, right? Like, obviously, love to have you as a client, or just use the Facebook stuff, or, reach out and by opening up and being vulnerable about what's happening with you, I can guarantee you'll find others that share the same things or can relate in a lot of ways. And I don't know, it's just awesome to know that you're part of a tribe and you're not alone and you're not a failure. That's all. So, okay, I'm going to pause this and then I'm going to come back with number 3, which is insomnia. Woohoo! Okay, talk to you soon. Share, do Facebook things. I don't know, whatever I'm supposed to say around that. Make it happen. I would love to hear. Also, I'd love to hear kind of any tips that you have about this stuff, your thoughts, yada, yada. Okay,